Hey everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and happy Sunday, October 2nd of 2022. Here we go into the last quarter of this year. And if yours has been anything like mine, it's been full of growth, personal development, all kinds of epiphanies. Maybe you've been down quite a few rabbit holes and left yourself a lifeline to get on out, I hope. But to me, this is a beautiful time to be alive. And I had some really awesome thoughts, as usual, during this week that I had a lot of fun thinking about and being inspired by. So one of the things that really struck me is there's a kind of a saying going around about the new rich. And this is basically this. It doesn't matter what kind of house you live in. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. It matters that you are debt free and living your life with joy and sovereignty and freedom. In fact, being debt free and not caring what other people think about the kind of house you have, the kind of car you drive. This is true freedom. This is true brilliance and amazingness of being a human being. In fact, if you think about the kind of freedom that you get from being a sovereign human who's not stuck on the hamster wheel of debt. And this can be an overwhelming idea for a lot of people because that is how our system is set up. But to me, this is one of those things that is such a beautiful way to live your life. And I've lived, I would say, the first half of my life in constant debt. And as I've gotten older, I've always had this thought process, like, it feels like this heavy thing on my shoulders when I carry large loads of debt for different things. And being a person who's a business owner, there's going to be debt. Being a person who lives in a home and owns a vehicle, there's going to be debt. But there's always ways to, save money, not always buy the highest, most fancy things. It's like designer clothes have never ever meant anything to me. And to me, that is one of the ways that we become rich when we are not in debt, because we become rich in lower stress. Think about that alone, right? So this is one of the biggest things that felt like a huge epiphany to me this week. And I've seen a couple little things here and there on social media about the new rich is really people who are free, who are sovereign, who are driving maybe a car that's 10 years old or 20 years old, um, and it maybe looks a little beat up. It to me, this is wealth. This is true wealth, because where it shows up as being really rich is you have time and you have experience. You get to experience being a human being, because let's be honest, none of us are getting out of here alive. We might as well make the most of it. Imagine how much good you can do. Because I think that most of us are blind to our weaknesses. I think, that is just human nature. But on the other end of the spectrum, we're also blind to our strengths. We don't realize our own potential, our own power as human beings. And imagine if you realize that, how much good you could do in the world. So imagine if you were to consider yourself and wanted to be one of the new rich, in the new rich definition, which means live below your means, do everything you can to get out of debt, especially, I believe, in the place where the world is right now. This is extra important. And then if you realized your own potential, and if you realize that this life is, we're all on the same, we're all mortal. This is where we're all going. And if we realized what all the good we could do and we start acting that way, why not? Why not throw everything you have at this life? I know a lot of people who live that way, and it is the most amazing thing to be in their presence, because they are living their truth, and all it takes is a little taste of that for you to start understanding how powerful that is. So that, to me, is a beautiful, beautiful message to bring through today. Now, one of the things that I actually ran across, and I don't know who said this because I watched this on a little social media post, but it didn't say who was saying it, but it was basically the 5 most deadly toxins that ruin your health. And this is, it might not be what you think it is. So, but to me, this goes along with kind of this whole idea of being part of the new rich and doing as much good as you can in the world with not just yourself, but your resources. Because when you are able to help others, this is what it's all about. So the 5 most deadly toxins, which I said might not be what you think, are number 1, complaining. Think about that, how that damages your health. I mean, if you are like me, you know at least one person who it's never good enough. There's always something to complain about. And I think that what happens is we just get in this loop. And people that are always complaining, and you might be one of those people, you might not realize it, but maybe that's something that's just the way that you've been living your life, is it's just never quite good enough. So that's a time to kind of step back and say, am I living in gratitude? Am I living in an idea of things are always working out for me? And if something that I would normally complain about, what if I stop doing that? That can be a really, really powerful way to change a really toxic behavior, and that is complaining. Because think about how hard it is to be around somebody who complains all the time. I know a person who's married to someone who's very close to me. That is their mode of transportation. It is Nothing is ever good enough, no matter what they're doing. If they're in a restaurant, the table's never good enough. The service is never fast enough. The food is not exactly perfect. It's never ever good enough, and it's not just with that one thing, but everything. And I don't think they even realize it. And they're a really good person. And when it's just an interesting place. Okay, so the number 2 thing is that's very toxic to your health is criticizing. When you're constantly criticizing, not just others, but situations and things that are happening in the world that maybe you feel like you can't control, that is really, really toxic on your health. Number 3 is being negative. And this can even be something that's like, that's so sad. And I'm not saying don't say that's so sad. I'm saying think about the negative loops that we get in, especially if you're a person who goes down those rabbit holes, right? Think about that. If you go down certain places where you're learning new truths and you're opening and you're awakening, a lot of that stuff can be very negative, and it gets you in a negative loop. You have to literally be proactive and pull yourself out of those things, because what happens is once you know these things, it doesn't do you any good to keep reconfirming them, and it can put you in a negative thought process. It ruins your health, it ruins your relationships, it ruins your ability to be this amazing, good human being, because you're caught in this negativity loop, and that just doesn't serve you. Number 4 is making excuses. I mean, there's always something that keeps us from meeting our goals, getting out of debt. There's always an excuse. That is such a toxic behavior. It's time to own up. It's time to own up and say, okay, my situation is the way it is because I put myself there. And now I'm going to take the steps to do it and make no more excuses. This has to be a concerted effort. You have to make a real effort, because you know what? Falling back on an excuse is always super, super easy. At least it feels like the easy way out until you realize this is actually holding me back from the things that I really, really want in life. I mean, think about people who've been saying for years, I want to get in shape and I want to lose weight. I want to make my marriage better, but it's my husband's fault or it's my wife's fault. It's not, I'll wait until until they make a move because I can't, it's their fault. So there's always excuses and why we hold ourselves back from connecting into our higher self and doing the things that we know are going to bring us so much abundance and so much joy in this life. So a good day to stop making excuses for any kind of problem you have or any kind of situation that you have found yourself in. And the final one here on this little list is gossiping. What a toxic behavior, right? It's kind of like, oh, that's so fun to share gossip and watch other people's reactions. And honestly, if you're like me, I just feel kind of dirty once I am spreading gossip. And in the past, I've definitely been guilty of it. I've been guilty of gossiping about family members, about friends, just a juicy bit of information. And it's something that I think that we all are a little tiny bit guilty of. But that is truly a very toxic behavior that can keep you stuck in the ability to live your best life. It'll keep you stuck from being unable to do that. And I think that if you think about the kind of life that we all want, that we all hope, that, the future that we want, the future can start right now, today, in this moment with you. And that to me is what I hope for you, is a little bit of layering and pulling off some of these toxic behaviors so that you can do a lot of good in the world and live up to your potential and become one of the new rich. Be a new rich person. Drive a car that has 200,000 miles on it. I have a friend, her car, she loves this car, and it literally has almost 200,000 miles on it. And she loves this car. One of the things she loves the most about it, besides everything about it, is the fact that it's been paid off for a decade or more. That to me is one of the freeing things, because think about what happens when you go get something new. It's all exciting. It's all wonderful and fun. It's like a huge dopamine hit, right? But that wears off super quick. And then what are you left with? You're left with this big debt, this big payment. And if there's a way for you to be smarter with your finances, and I am not a financial advisor, this is just my own opinion, but this is a really great way to give yourself sovereignty and become the person who can spread love and do a lot of good in the world, because everything about you is going to be freer. So I hope for you a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, the first Sunday in October of this year. The kind of growth and the kind of amazingness that I think is still to come, the last quarter of this year, is going to be glorious to behold. So I hope some of this resonates with you. If you're a person who's maybe already figured some of this stuff out, especially the being out of debt thing, drop me a comment, give me a thumbs up if this resonates with you. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And I actually think that I might be kind of following along with some of the other people that are sitting on this platform and maybe moving over to another platform like Rumble. Just because it's, you want to support the businesses, the platforms that align with your values. So that is something that I'm considering. If I do it, I will definitely let you know. But I hope you have a beautiful Sunday. I hope your life is and your day is filled with abundance and joy and the realization that you're not only blind to your weaknesses, you are blind to your strengths and your own power. So I'm sending you guys lots of love. I hope you have the most beautiful day and a glorious week ahead, and we will talk to you soon.